The morning I found out my son's entire future was gone, I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just sat at my kitchen table, stared at my phone screen, and felt something inside me go completely still. My name is Maya. I'm 42 years old, a single mother, and for 18 years, I did everything right. I skipped vacations. I drove the same car for a decade. I picked up extra shifts. Every dollar I saved went into one place, Caleb's college fund. My son. My reason for everything. By the time he turned 18 and got his acceptance letter to one of the best engineering programs in the country, that fund had grown to $250,000. I thought we had made it. But the morning I'm talking about, I logged into that account and saw a number that made no sense.
0.
Not a glitch. Not a mistake. $0. 0 cents. 18 years of sacrifice gone. And the worst part? Only 2 people had access to that account.
Me.
And my brother Derek. When I called the bank in a panic, the manager went quiet for a long time. Then he said something I will never forget. Before we continue with this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Derek wasn't just my brother. He was the man who walked me down the aisle when our father was too sick to stand. The man who held Caleb as a newborn and cried. The man I called at 2 a.m. when my husband died, and he drove 4 hours without hesitation to be at my door by morning. So when I needed a co-signer on Caleb's custodial investment account 6 years ago, there was no debate. It was Derek. It was always Derek. He had a stable job in finance, a house, a reputation. Everyone in our family trusted him with everything. And for years, nothing was wrong. The account grew. Caleb's future was safe. But looking back now, there were signs I refused to see. The borrowed money he never paid back. The canceled dinners with weak excuses. The way he'd change the subject whenever I mentioned the account. I told myself it was stress from his divorce. I told myself family goes through phases. I told myself a lot of things. When I finally pulled up the full transaction history at the bank, I saw 3 wire transfers. All within 48 hours. All authorized under Derek's credentials. Every single dollar. Vanished. In 2 days. The bank manager, Mr. Harmon, called me before I could even process what I was seeing. His voice was calm, too calm, and he said 4 words that stopped my breathing. Come in. Don't call Derek. I sat across from Mr. Harmon 20 minutes later, hands shaking in my lap, and he slid a document across the desk. The 3 wire transfers hadn't gone to a personal account. They'd been sent to 3 separate accounts, all flagged by federal regulators, all linked to the same offshore gambling platform. Derek had taken Caleb's entire future and lost it in a single night of online betting. I couldn't speak. I just stared at the numbers. Then Mr. Harmon said, "There's something else." 6 months earlier, Derek had attempted a $15,000 transfer from the same account. But I had logged in from a new device that week, which triggered a fraud alert and paused it automatically. Derek had backed off. He waited. He watched. And then he came back more carefully, more deliberately, and took everything. This wasn't impulsive. This was planned. Mr. Harmon folded his hands and looked at me steadily. "Mrs. Maya, your brother just made a fatal mistake. And I need to show you why." Mr. Harmon slid one final document across the desk. A printed call log. Derek's co-signer phone number, 11 outgoing calls over 3 days, all to a number registered to a predatory debt collection firm. The same firm tied to the offshore gambling network. Derek wasn't gambling for fun. He was drowning. He had accumulated $180,000 in personal debt to lenders connected to that same platform, dangerous people who don't send polite letters. Caleb's fund wasn't stolen on impulse. It was a calculated, deliberate decision to use the only large asset Derek could access legally, my son's future, to save his own skin. And here was his fatal mistake. The offshore network he wired the money through was already under active federal surveillance. The moment Derek authorized those transfers, he didn't just steal from Caleb. He walked directly into an ongoing federal investigation and left a perfect digital trail behind him. Mr. Harmon had already contacted the fraud division. Authorities had been notified. I drove to Derek's apartment that evening. He didn't know I knew anything. He opened the door smiling, started saying something about helping Caleb with tuition options. I placed my phone on his kitchen table. Transaction records. Call logs. One text from the bank. My brother's face went pale. Here is what actually happened, all of it. Derek had been secretly gambling for nearly 4 years. What started as small bets spiraled into a $180,000 debt to lenders who were running collections through the same offshore network he'd been using. He was out of options, out of time, and he made a decision that I still can't fully comprehend. He chose his debt over his nephew's future. He believed the transfers would look like routine investment withdrawals. He believed no one would check. He believed he would disappear the evidence before Caleb's enrollment deadline forced me to look. He was wrong about all of it. Derek was arrested 4 days later. Federal wire fraud charges. Civil liability for the full $250,000. His house, his accounts, his assets, frozen. The family didn't debate it. Every single person cut contact. No calls. No letters. Nothing. He stood in that courtroom and said he was going to pay it back.
I didn't feel anger when he said that.
I felt something quieter.
Sadder.
I had never actually known him at all. The civil recovery process took 8 months. A university emergency grant covered Caleb's first semester. He enrolled late, but he enrolled. The day I watched him carry boxes into his dorm, he turned and waved at me from the doorway. I waved back and didn't say a word. He never needed to know how close he came to losing everything. And I decided he never would.